Donald Trump just did something no American president has done in 75 years of transatlantic relations. He walked into a meeting with Europe's most powerful leader, rejected everything she offered, and then walked out, leaving her sitting in silence. This was not a normal disagreement. It was a dramatic diplomatic moment. Reports say a confidential document prepared by Trump's team includes very tough demands, so tough that some European officials are calling it economic warfare. A 30-day deadline has reportedly started. And what happens when that deadline ends could seriously impact relations between the United States and Europe. For 75 years, the relationship between Washington and Brussels has been seen as stable and essential. It became the foundation of the modern Western alliance. During the Cold War, American military power helped defend Europe from Soviet threats. Today, the U.S. continues to support European security against challenges from Russia under Vladimir Putin. American investment helped rebuild European economies after World War II. The U.S. also supported European positions in major international institutions dealing with trade, climate, and global security. However, this relationship was never perfectly equal. The United States carried a large share of defense costs. American troops were stationed across Europe. American naval forces protected key trade routes. U.S. intelligence agencies monitored global threats. American nuclear weapons contributed to deterrence across the continent. Meanwhile, many European countries invested heavily in social programs, including healthcare systems, pension programs, shorter work weeks, and long paid vacations. Defense spending in some nations remained relatively low compared to U.S. levels, often around 1% to 2% of GDP, while the U.S. spent much more. For decades, American presidents from both parties believed this arrangement served U.S. strategic interests. They believed a stable and united Europe benefited America, even if it required significant financial commitment. But Donald Trump has long challenged that view. Since announcing his presidential campaign in 2015, he has repeatedly argued that the U.S.-Europe relationship has been unfair to American workers. He described NATO as outdated and criticized European countries for not meeting agreed defense spending targets. He threatened to reduce U.S. troop levels in countries like Germany. He imposed tariffs on European steel and aluminum. He withdrew from the Paris Climate Agreement, which European leaders strongly supported. He publicly questioned NATO's collective defense clause. Those actions signaled tension, but what happened 72 hours ago, according to reports, may represent something bigger. Ursula von der Leyen, President of the European Commission, reportedly arrived in Washington with a detailed proposal package. She offered commitments to increase European defense spending by billions of euros. She proposed trade adjustments aimed at reducing the trade imbalance between the U.S. and the European Union. She pledged increased purchases of American liquefied natural gas to reduce dependence on Russian energy. She also signaled openness to revisiting digital regulations that affect American technology companies. According to sources cited in reports, the meeting atmosphere was tense from the start. Observers say there were few diplomatic formalities. Trump reportedly began by stating that the U.S. would no longer accept what he sees as economic imbalance and unequal burden sharing. He emphasized that American taxpayers should not continue subsidizing European security. According to accounts from people familiar with the discussion, Trump rejected von der Leyen's proposals entirely. Not because they needed adjustments, but because he believes negotiation is no longer the right path. He reportedly said the United States would now act unilaterally to protect its economic and security interests. Von der Leyen attempted to explain Europe's political and economic realities, including budget constraints and the need to balance defense spending with domestic programs. Reports say Trump interrupted, stating that the time for discussion had ended. Then, according to witnesses, he stood up and left the meeting. European diplomats described the moment as shocking. Cameras later showed Ursula von der Leyen leaving the building with a serious expression, reflecting the gravity of the situation. Within hours, the Trump administration released a statement confirming a 30-day timeline for major policy decisions. That announcement triggered urgent discussions across European capitals. European leaders are now carefully evaluating their options. The next 30 days could reshape trade policies, defense commitments, and the broader transatlantic alliance. If you want to understand what may happen when that deadline expires, stay tuned. In the next video, we will break down the reported demands and examine what they could mean for the future of Europe relations. The coming weeks may play a significant role in shaping global power dynamics and the future of the Western alliance.